Hello and welcome to CFESA's President's Podcast. My name is Kirby Mallon. I am your president, and with us today is Scott Hester from RSI Service Company in Dallas, Texas. Welcome, Scott.
Hi, Kirby. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Busy day. I'm sure you're. I'm sure you're the same way. I guess you have some heat down there. I'm sure you got plenty of service calls, and you're cranking along as usual, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're running full blast.
Well, for our membership and our listeners in this series of podcasts, we're trying to get more personable and we're trying to educate the membership of our different members within CFESA. A lot of people know Scott Hester. Scott Hester's been around for a long time, past president. But today we wanted to spend some time and just get to know Scott. So, first question, Scott, is I know you live in Dallas, Texas. Where were you born?
I was born in Dallas, Texas, Dallas County, and I grew up in the city of Dallas. Um, in school and all, everything was here for me. And currently, I live east of Dallas, one county in Rockwall County, but it's part of the metropolitan area.
Okay, well, so like many people, you're born in a certain area, you hang out in that area, and that's where you live now, right?
Yes,
Okay. And then what was your I assume you went to high school. Did you go to college, Scott?
I did not. I did some community college when I started, but literally, I was already traveling with my brother when I wasn't in high school, when school was out, and we were installing the walk ins on Steak and Ales and Bennigan's and Fridays and such. And I started working with him. It was a summer job that never ended for me, in effect, because he had started his business 6 months earlier, rather abruptly, because his employer had became insolvent. And then we were off to the races. And so I kind of operated as a little bit of a black sheep for not going to college for the first few years. But in my late 20s, my parents kind of got past that. And I never did go to college. This is the only job I've had since and before high school.
Well, you're preaching to the choir here, Scott, because that's one of my talking points that I've as president, I'm trying to get the word out that you don't have to go to college to have a great career, specifically in our industry. So
I would
I
agree.
often say it's two different avenues. You could come out of high school and say I got to go to college. That's what I'm supposed to do, and spend $100,000 or more going to college and be in tremendous amount of debt, as opposed to coming to working for a CFESA certified company, a CFESA member, and we will pay you to train you, and you can get an awesome career as a technician, and then ultimately becomes some in-house person or run the service department or all that good stuff. So it's interesting that you did not go to college. I did, but I'll tell you, it was 4 years of just growing up is really all I learned from college. It doesn't really
You know,
make you
I
any smarter.
understand. And I've had one kid needs to decide if he's going to college or not. One graduated with a degree, and another did not. So they all vary what they choose
Yep.
to do.
And if you choose the avenue to come to work for a service company, within those 4 years that you would have spent going to college, you're going to have made at least $100,000, if not more, and you have an
I would
education,
agree,
right?
especially with the technician potential pool that is good with their hands. Uh, they can come in and eclipse that pretty quickly if
Hmm.
the success is there. If they make their success happen for them.
So Scott, you've been involved with CFESA a lot longer than I have. You were there when I first got involved. You were on the board and all that kind of stuff. Let's
Hmm.
back up a little bit. So you were born in Dallas, Texas. You kind of raised there, went to high school, got into the business kind of earlier, um, and uh, you're currently you're married to Sharon, correct?
Yes.
guys have been married a couple years, I suppose.
Well, today is my 26th anniversary.
How about that?
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you're very
Happy,
welcome.
happy anniversary to you.
Thank you.
26 years.
Hmm.
Good. I hope you had that written down somewhere on a piece of paper in your
I
wallet, right?
did. I did actually. I told my wife happy anniversary this morning before I went to work.
That's great. And do you have kids, Scott?
I have three. The youngest will be 21 in June, and the oldest is 34.
Are they in the business by any chance?
Yes, all three of them.
Okay,
Hmm.
great.
The eldest does my billing for CES, and my middle child also, they're both daughters, has just moved into CES on the scheduling and coordinating. She'd formerly worked for RSI, and she just moved over a week ago. And then my son works in the field for both companies and installation assistants.
That's awesome. A family business, true and true.
Mhm.
So you're kind of the face of CFESA. If any member of CFESA has been to any conferences, they'll typically see yourself or Katie, who's in your service department. She's also on the board of directors right now at this point in time. Um, but there's someone that no one really knows in your business, RSI, and that's your brother Marvin, correct?
Correct? Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the relationship there with you and your brother. I assume is he the older brother? I don't know if you guys
He
are.
is 10 and a half years my senior. So
Okay.
Marvin was born in 49. I was born in 1960.
Hmm.
And until 3.5 years ago, we were also partnered with our brother in law, George. And
Hmm.
has retired and sold out. And Marvin and I are the partners on everything now. There's not any other ownership. But Marvin started the business while I was still in high school, and it was a spark of necessity where he came to work one day and there wasn't any work left to be done because his employer went kaput, and he got out and started going after it. The market in the Dallas Fort Worth area was strong. I guess we're known for our entertainment and dining more so than being on an ocean or being in the mountains. And I think as a result, you generally the industry looks at Dallas Fort Worth as a happening place for the restaurant industry. If you look at the number of chains here and the concepts that come here and get fleshed out before they go nationwide in development, and we've had the great opportunity to take advantage of that over the last 4.5 decades.
About
And
that.
that's the secret sauce in our mix here in this market that makes it unique.
Wow. So your brother Marvin basically started the business around 1978. Is that right?
Correct. In January of 78.
That's awesome. Um, so um, so I guess then you're kind of a second. Well, your kids would be third generation, right?
Nah, Marvin and I are first. So the
Right.
kids are typically second. My
Okay.
nephew, David, Marvin's son, also does work here. And he
Hmm.
works in the sales section and ice and beer and that kind of thing, installation side.
Excellent. Excellent. And a true family business. I love it. I'm right there with you, Scott.
Hmm.
Elmer Schultz Services, third generation family business that my grandfather Elmer started, and my father Bill Mallon took over from there, which you know.
Hmm.
And at some point, I bought the business. I don't know, 15 years ago from my father. Um, so CFESA, you've been a long time supporter of CFESA. I believe you were well. I know you were president at one point in time, but you were heavily involved with CFESA a long time ago. I think you were on multiple committees. Were you not?
I was, and I got involved in the early to middle 1980s insofar as coming to conference. Initially, Marvin found out about CFESA and joined through his relationship with Roger Martin, which was Stove Parts back then. And, the Martin family and us, we enjoyed a handful of I guess, a couple decades anyway, of referring one another for everything hot versus everything cold. Because in the old days, there were hot side companies and there were refrigeration companies, and there wasn't a whole lot of cross pollination between the two disciplines. And that, of course, has changed through today. But that's how we found out about CFESA and got involved. And at that point in time, who's busiest and who's going to do this. And I guess also I was more interested in it, and I started attending conference, NRA fall conference, and things of that nature. And at the same time, through my spending time and mentoring under, say, Fred Krueger, Jean Jacquet, um, Barish, a handful of other people, I saw they were working on a refrigeration project. And next thing I know, I was on that committee. And then I was able to work on what became the refrigeration training class and help conduct that a few times and develop that program. And from there, I worked with some other committee work. I got an opportunity to run for the board. I had a 1 year fill in the gap term. Then I didn't get reelected. Then I got reelected back on. And after that, I stayed on the board all the way through the office of past presidents, presidency. And then right after I was in past presidency, that's when we effected the bylaw changes that improved things in a way where it enhanced the participation at the board with respect to folks running for office and members voting and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. You just mentioned some heavy hitters there in the industry that have been around for some time. I believe prior to you being president, John Swanson was president. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So John Swanson was president.
Hmm.
I assume that you were probably the vice president at that point in time. Uh,
Correct.
Back in the day, there was only one vice president, so you were kind of in line to become president. Today, the CFESA board has changed that, so there's two vice presidents. So the membership always has a choice. So moving forward, we've made that change, and that's been in place for some time. You were president for the years of 2010 to 2012, as you just mentioned,
Hmm.
and I believe immediately after you, Joe Pierce was the president. Is that
That is
right?
correct. Hmm.
Right. And then we brought in house the employees of CFESA. And then, of course, we built the CFESA headquarters, which is fascinating.
That's true. A
Yeah,
lot changed and a lot for
yeah.
the good of the association and the membership.
So at some point, your company, RSI, that's Refrigerated Specialists, became a CFESA certified company. Is that accurate?
It is. And it would have been all within 24 months of the initiation of the program. That was something that was underway when I was a fledgling director. And once it became a goal for a member, I had kind of gotten up to speed on that. We worked on that and were able to get that done.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think there's 30 or so CFESA certified companies within the industry.
Hmm.
And of course, we have CFESA Master Certified Technicians. So maybe you can speak a little bit about how a technician becomes a Master Certified Technician, Scott.
Well, the Master Certified Technician accomplishment is a recognition of the technician's skill and experience that would indicate to anybody that's aware of that he's a qualified and capable individual in the electric, gas, steam, refrigeration disciplines that he's certified for. And it also goes to extend that in most cases, a master technician person would be a great mentoring or coach resource for the younger technicians in coming up. And it is something that they're able to turn to their relationships, be they professional or personal. And it's a benchmark or a reference to an accomplishment that they've made that they can be very proud of. A certification means that you've gone through a process that's usually difficult, and being a certified technician has its challenges, and you've proven up that you're capable and you're qualified. And so we enjoy that, and we use it with our customers. We use it in our graphics on our vans and on our uniforms and business cards and so forth to promote everyone that's master or certified technicians. And from the interview process throughout the entire time someone will work here, we're consistently and regularly promoting that they should be engaged, interested, and they pursue that.
Excellent. Thank you for that explanation, Scott.
Hmm.
Yes, I agree 100% that it's not only beneficial for the company to have master certified technicians, but it's certainly a badge of pride for those technicians,
True
and
that.
they're very proud of that. It's interesting. We historically were a hot side company. Years and years and years ago, when Elmer started the business, we did not do refrigeration. We only did what we call the hot side. And I think the majority of CFESA members back in the day, that was the case. And I think that your situation was a little bit different because you were always the cold side company. Is that accurate?
That is true. I was, I guess, not necessarily an outsider in a negative way, but there were a lot of conversations that happened about a lot of topics in the association that were strictly hot side related. And in the beginning, um, sometimes I wondered if we belonged there in membership. But we did, and it was sure a good thing that we were there because of where the industry has taken itself over the decades. It was a good play for us, and it also was the introduction to us that we needed to be into the hot side. Had we not been a CFESA member and participated, then we might be like a lot of the other refrigeration companies that still don't do hot side today. They might do
Hmm.
residential air conditioning or work in other areas. This was just one of our avenues of growth where, we started in refrigeration, and then we began the equipment leasing for, say, ice and margarita machines. And a few years after that, we got into the hot side repair. And now that's grown to where we do the hot and the cold side repair, pursuing manufacturer relationships for warranty and or factory installs, and working for the dealers and the entire installation department. All those things grew from that. And being involved in CFESA was a really large part in pursuing uh, those paths, and it really helped us grow because the peer interaction, my time with you, my time with Sharon Barish or Tina Reese or Jean Droquette or uh, Roger Kaufman, John Swanson, everyone, Joe Pierce after me, etc. The late Paul Tocali, all those guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone was great because to be able to have a level headed fair exchange in a neutral environment with folks that you may not compete against, you don't have any overlap worries with, provided a really great environment all these years. And it provided me developments, um, the board work, budget, treasury, how meetings work, all of that. I would not necessarily have acquired if not for my involvement in CFESA.
I agree with you 100%, Scott. And I'm not sure if you know this, Scott, but you and I were sitting at a CFESA conference. It's got to be 15 years ago, and you were a refrigeration company that took on the hot side, and Elmer Schultz was a hot side service company. We did not do refrigeration, and you convinced me to do refrigeration. I'm
Hmm.
sure you don't remember that, but I clearly remember you kind of explaining to me the reasons why I should do it, and to not kind of cross train technicians and try not to take a hot side guy and make him a cold side guy and do both. Although some people do that well, but I took your advice and I hired just refrigeration technician, separate division here at Elmer Schultz,
Hmm.
and it's a very successful division. And I have to thank you for that. And as you said, it's the years of going to CFESA conferences and talking to your peers and asking lots of questions. Where do you buy your van? How do you buy vans? Do you lease them? Do
Hmm.
you buy them? How do you do this? How do you do that? And there's a tremendous amount of knowledge within our industry, and it's such a unique industry that Scott, you and I only see each other twice a year, but I consider you one of my good friends because we've known each other for such a long
Hmm.
time.
And likewise, yes, sir.
Yeah. So, Scott, getting back to you and yourself, let me ask you this. So you work. Seems like you work an awful lot. I know you do.
Hmm.
What do you do? What do you do when you're not working? What do you do for fun?
Well, everybody's probably familiar with me riding my motorcycle to conference, and so I do a good bit of that. I enjoy some target shooting, um, indoor pistol range as well as outdoor. I'm trying to develop some longer range skills that progress is not what I would like it to be out on the long range. And but it's all fun and I enjoy it. The shooting, um, having the grandkids over, interacting with family and friends, spending time with the wife. Those are all of my normal activities when I clock out, and go home. Um,
Right.
so, looking at what we're going to do this summer, but I'll almost certainly be in Nashville on the motorcycle when conference comes this fall.
Okay. And what's your motorcycle of choice these days?
I ride the BMW K1600. So
Nice.
it's a six-cylinder touring bike, and it has a little trailer I can pull behind it that for my longer trips or when I bring the wife along, and we've got room for luggage. And you can't tell it's there when you're riding. So
That's
that's what we
incredible.
enjoy.
All right. Well, if you're in Nashville and you see this fancy BMW motorcycle going by, that's probably going to be Scott. So, well, I wanted to thank you, Scott, today for spending your time with me, and your company RSI and you, Scott, are a true blue CFESA member, and you have been dedicated for many years to the organization and to the cause. And and without people like you, we wouldn't have the membership that we have and what we have within CFESA. So I
Hmm.
personally want to thank you for all your years of expertise and giving back to the community.
Hmm.
And I do appreciate your time today, Scott.
Well, I thank you for it very much, and I don't want to sign off without first giving all the due credit to the 100+ people that work here. If it's not for Katie and Marvin and everyone else in the early days, I wouldn't have been free to participate. I would have been at work. And, it's everyone around me that makes us do well and perform well and makes everyone available. And of course, we try to do that for everyone, personal time balance with respect to work time and all that jazz. But I appreciate it, being able to visit with you and look forward to seeing you at conference here in the fall.
Yeah. So the next conference will be in Nashville. Scott will be there, and if you have any questions, you can ask him when you get there. So, thanks again for your time today, Scott, and
Mhm.
enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you. You guys have a great one.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
Goodbye now.
Goodbye.